Oh my. Hi, my name is Brittany and this is my channel, Sweet Smith Home. At Sweet Smith Home, I used to talk a lot about secondary infertility, unexplained secondary infertility specifically. And I had a lot of videos as we attempted 3 IUIs. I think I documented 2 of them, not very well, but it's a really an emotional time when you go through an IUI. And so I have a whole playlist about our struggle with having baby number 3. And I wanted to make this as a conclusion to that because I'm holding not baby number 3, but baby number 4. I wish I could tell you that this was a how-to, like how we did it, what we did to make baby 3 and baby 4 happen. But I can't. There really wasn't, I don't know. And that's what makes it so hard because I know so many people are still in the midst of struggling with infertility in some way or another. And I said from the very beginning with secondary infertility that it also, you know, my heart was heavy because I wanted another baby very badly, and I did grieve that, and it was very hard, but I also knew I was really blessed because I already had 2 kids, and those 2 kids came very easily. They were 14 months apart, not really on purpose. It just didn't take a lot of work to have them, and they grew healthy, and my pregnancies went smoothly and my labors went smoothly. And so when we were ready for baby number 3 and decided to stop, you know, using any kind of prevention, I think that's why it was so strange and so hard. And the first year wasn't that bad because I had my hands full with 2 kids, and then the second and third and fourth and fifth year it just got harder and harder and harder and harder until I decided, you know what, like I'm done. We have 2 kids. So many people would give anything for what we have. And I was grateful for my oldest 2. And I finally got to a place where I was content, and we stopped any form of trying to doing anything above and beyond how you would get pregnant. But we didn't use birth control because we were hopeful that one day, maybe, since we had unexplained infertility, that maybe we would be surprised with a 3rd. And we were surprised with a 3rd and a 4th. So we're done now, for sure. And I sometimes can't believe I have my hands this full. And honestly, it's really, really hard. Let me rewind. If this is a journey you're on and you're wanting someone in the midst of it with you, if you're curious about IUIs and what that looks like, and again, it looks a little different everywhere, I have a playlist of all of this, of us starting the fertility testing, finding out that there's literally nothing wrong, or they couldn't find anything wrong on paper, and then we attempted 3 IUIs. I documented 2 of those IUIs. All 3 of them, though, were unsuccessful. I did not get pregnant after them. And after that 3rd, my fertility clinic basically said there's nothing more that they could do. That it was, their protocol was 3 IUIs, and if those IUIs were not successful, that the only other option available would be IVF. And my husband and I did not want to pursue IVF for a multitude of reasons. The first and foremost being we already had 2 children. My husband was very okay with being a 4-person family. Now, he still wanted more kids, and that is why we did the fertility testing. That's why we did the IUIs. You know, he also went through a grieving process as well when we could not get pregnant, when we lost a pregnancy with a miscarriage. But also he was just able to let it go easier than I was. He was much more content than I was. I grieved this idea that I had of having a very large family, large as in 4 to 5 kids. So after our third IUI, when they said really the only thing that they could do was IVF, we really talked about it, prayed about it, and decided we already have 2 kids. IVF is extremely, extremely expensive and really, really hard on your body. And so we just decided for us it was not the path that we would go down. I'm very grateful we did not go down that path. We decided we will be happy with our 4-person family. We also decided we wouldn't use any kind of prevention. So hopefully one day, maybe we would have a miracle. And that miracle happened 1.5 years later, right as I went back to work as a 5th grade teacher. My youngest was in kindergarten. We had just gotten a dog, all of the things that they say, you know, if you do that, oh, you'll get pregnant. We were not more relaxed. We were not more stress-free. In fact, it was an extremely, extremely stressful time in our marriage because my husband had lost his job and we were struggling financially, because as a teacher, you don't start until August and you don't start getting paid until the end of August, sometimes the very 1st of September, which is after you've already started working, obviously. So we were in a very, very tight spot financially, and honestly, the pressure of that, of if you have never been there, of not knowing how you're getting groceries, of how you're paying rent, of your bank account going negative, those things, I mean, it's like fight or flight mode. I was so stressed. Could not sleep, was just, my mind was constantly in like a try to fix it. Like, how are we going to make it? What are we going to do? So we were definitely not more relaxed at all. In fact, I felt like my nervous system was on hyperdrive. I probably had so much cortisol because I was so stressed out. And within a month of starting work, of school starting, we found out that we were pregnant. I was shocked. I wish I could say that I did something different, that I ate differently, that I didn't. I was actually just, I was excited about our future. I was excited about 2 incomes because my husband got a new job. And so when I found out, like, I'm living life, I'm doing good, and found out that I'm pregnant, and actually it hit me a lot differently than I thought it would. I had spent 1.5 years letting go of this dream to have more children. Just being content with what we had. And so finding out that I was pregnant, but unplanned, was a lot more difficult than I expected. And then I felt a lot of guilt of that because I had tried, and we had tried so hard for so many years to have another baby. And then, of course, it happened when we had decided to not have another baby. Again, we weren't preventing any child because we would have been very happy having another one. I, again, always wanted at least 4 children. So we had our son, our 3rd child. I ended up staying home instead of going back to teach, which was heartbreaking for me. I loved my school that I was teaching at. I loved the admin. I loved my co-teacher. I really, really struggled with the decision to stay home or to go back to teach. So I decided to stay home because this baby we had prayed for. We felt like he was our miracle. He was our rainbow baby. He was just everything, the perfect puzzle piece, the perfect final piece to our family. So we thought. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to stay home. A few months in, postpartum depression reared its ugly head, and I really, really struggled. And again, that guilt of struggling so much during when you were living what you had been, I had been praying for a 3rd child for 6 years. For 6 years, I had desperately wanted another baby. 5 years, technically, I guess. So for 5 years, I had prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed that I would have another baby. And here I was living out that prayer. God had blessed us. We had this baby. He was a miracle. And I was just not doing well with it. I was struggling so much. It was very hard. I was very emotional. I know. I wanted to go back to work, and it takes a toll on you. And all the emotions that I felt, all the guilt that I felt for the way I was feeling and handling it and all that stuff. Luckily, I had an amazing friend step in to watch my son so I could go back and sub. So that was honestly the perfect solution. 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most days a week I could get out in the world. I could go see my friends that I made from teaching. I could be around my big kids while they were at school. And I just got a break. I honestly did so much better on the days that I was teaching that my husband and I decided that I would go back to work. And I texted my principal and I was like, hey, I want to come back next year. He was like, great, I'll let you know what openings are available come February, March. And then I found out I was pregnant again. And we were not using protection again. It had taken us 6 years to have our third baby. We thought he was our miracle. We thought it was a 1 in a million. We did not expect that it would happen again, and it would happen again so quickly. But it did. And so, again, I'm ashamed. I did not handle it well, and the entire pregnancy was very difficult for me. I was very torn between being grateful, feeling blessed, knowing this is what I wanted, this is what I've prayed for. I could envision my life with 4 grown children or elementary teenage years, and that's always how I had pictured our family. And I didn't know how I was going to survive postpartum again. I didn't know how I was going to survive the baby stage again. And here she is. She's beautiful. She's healthy. She's almost 4 months old, and I still feel like I'm in the thick of it. But we know that this time is fleeting. And so while it is a struggle some days, she is getting bigger. She's sleeping a little more. We're introducing formula, so soon I'll be done nursing. If you're here because you are struggling with infertility, I want you to know that 1, you're not alone. 2, it is very, very hard, and it is very unfair. And I wish I had a fix for you. I really do. And that's all I wanted in that time, was just for someone to tell me what to do, and I would have done it. But the truth is our bodies are complicated. Our bodies don't always do things right. Even though they were designed to do things right, they don't always work like they should. And there's a lot of different pathways to children, whether that's IVF, whether that's IUIs, whether that is letting go and letting what happens happen. I know that my story, I'm very, very lucky. I've got a glimpse and walked through what a lot of women walk through. I wouldn't have understood the struggle if I hadn't have walked through it. And so in a way, I'm very grateful that I did experience that hardship. But I also know that I'm very blessed because it worked out for me in the end, and worked out so well that we are going to permanently close that door. No more children for us, and we're going to have a nice big full family. So if you want to see more what it was like during the time of walking through infertility, go and follow that playlist. Go and watch those videos if you're curious about IUIs and all of that kind of stuff. But I needed to make some kind of conclusion because in my videos I will mention having 4 kids. And if you found me because of infertility, I want you to know that I am on the other side of that. And I hope that for you so badly, so much. I wish you the best.